It's just too sweet. Jonathan, the Angels sweep the Yankees for the first time since 2009. That was a good year. And the halo is shining all day and all night. And this one was doubly important, Johnny. And we're going to talk about why. It's time to get locked on with Mike and John. And this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked On Angels. And the best way to help us out is by giving us a rate and a review, just like our team Mama 22 did. Johnny gave us 5 stars. We really appreciate that. And Super Halo Mama really appreciates that. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you're subscribed and click that bell to be notified every time a new episode drops.
Thank you for being here for this episode of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
It's our second season here at Locked On Angels, and we're talking Angels baseball Monday through Friday, every single weekday, because where else are you going to go to talk about your favorite team and how they performed on the field and what's going on and what's the latest and greatest? It's all right here on Locked On Angels. Hey, tomorrow's show, we're going to have Lindsey Crosby from Locked On MLB Prospects coming in to talk to us about if the Angels decided to trade Ohtani, which teams have the best prospect capital to make that even worth it? And, based on how they've been playing the last few days, we're taking it one game at a time. I don't know that we're going to need to do that.
Is getting bigger. It's a big if, right? Yeah, I don't think we're going to need to, but I think it's a good conversation.
Yes.
Plus, Lindsey's just a rock star, so it's great to have him on the show.
Absolutely. Mike, yesterday, the Angels swept the New York Yankees. First time since 2009 that they've done that. They were wearing the vest uniform back then. That was pretty cool to see on the broadcast there. They won 7-3, and this was a very important game. Now we're going to talk about Chase Silseth in our second segment because him coming back up from AAA and performing the way that he did warrants its own conversation. But tell us why this was the most crucial game against the Yankees yesterday.
The Angels clinched the tiebreaker against the Yankees, John. So there's no more game 163s. They don't have that tiebreaker game, although that's one of the most probably fun games of the season if it happens, right? But they don't have those games anymore. Yeah, not for well, we've been in game 163 the last couple of days, right? And so the Angels have the tiebreaker now against the Yankees. So if they finish with the same record, they'll get into the playoffs and the Yankees won't. Same thing against the Red Sox, the team that we've lost against. Houston, we don't have the tiebreaker against them. So that's a bummer. Have a shot against Toronto. We have 3 games to go. We're 1-2 against them. So these games, they really matter, and getting wins really matters, and winning series really matters, John.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, getting this game going early was Taylor Ward with a 2-run home run after a walk to Ohtani. The Angels tied a franchise record by hitting a home run in 18 straight games. Last time they did that, the good old year of 1982, my friend.
I was 2.
And I was not even a thought. Listen to Taylor Ward here. He's slashing .314, a .415 on base, and a .600 slugging percentage in the last 10 games. Terrific numbers for Taylor Ward. Top of the second, Neto throws out a runner at third after a leadoff double. Mike, just a heads-up play, and props to Rengifo for being there to receive that too and get that tag on. And that's not the first time Neto has done this either. It's been another heads-up play for him to get that lead runner at third, and it certainly paid off in that one. Rengifo hit a 2-run home run after Renfroe walked. I'm noticing a trend here. The walks are coming back to haunt the Yankees, and not us. We're not the ones walking everybody.
Shocking. Yeah, big time shock.
In the bottom of the third, Mickey Moniak had an RBI single with a runner in scoring position. He's got an 11-game hit streak, only his 3rd career hit against lefties. 2 of them have come on this homestand. I imagine that will increase as the playing time increases against lefties.
Giving him the opportunity, man. That guy is just incredible. And there was a great stat on Twitter, and they were talking about how Moniak has really overperformed with pitches in the zone. Like he is crushing those pitches in the zone. So there's going to be probably some regression because that's typical of a baseball player. But Moniak right now is just really benefiting from seeing the ball and then hitting the ball and making good contact, and it's finding a hole. And perhaps there won't be too much of a regression, because if he's doing this right now, maybe he just keeps getting lucky and the ball keeps finding its way into the outfield. And having the opportunity against lefties, I think, is only going to help him to be a whole lot better, Johnny.
Absolutely. Hey, Escobar, RBI ground out, made it 6-0, and all 4 walks from Carlos Rodon at that point had scored. So the Angels were making him pay at that point. Rodon back out there for, I believe, his 3rd start, and he's been injured most of this season. So the Angels certainly took advantage of him trying to figure it out. But talk about Chase Silseth, Mike. I know we're going to do a deeper dive into his stats later on, but just to give us the rundown here.
This is what we needed from a starting pitcher, and we mentioned this on yesterday's show. I think that these guys really live off of each other. Like they there's this energy, there's this momentum that they hand to the next guy. It's like running at a track meet and handing off that baton, and they really handed off a lot of energy and a lot of emotion to Silseth. And he came in and he looked great, Johnny. 5 2/3, 2 runs, 4 hits, 10 Ks, which was a career high. And again, I think the way that the Angels were attacking the Yankees really just overwhelmed them, because Canning did it in the first game. They were up and down in the zone. What I liked about Silseth is that he had a really good slider and had really good off-speed stuff. Again, we're going to talk about him in the next segment. The bullpen came in, Johnny, and they were kind of bent, but they didn't break. Soriano struggled a bit. He had 4 straight reach, and then with 2 outs in the 6th inning, he did allow a run, but then he got out of it. He left the bases loaded.
Something I think was being tipped off, because you could see the Angels the Yankees having a conversation about something Soriano was doing. So hopefully Matt Wise will have a conversation with him. Hopefully he even recognized that Soriano was tipping something.
Wise was running across the field to the Yankees dugout going, "What are you guys seeing? Can you help me out?"
Yeah. You got notes over there? Can I copy your notes?
Yeah. Hey, Jacob Webb came in, got an inning, struck out a guy, and then Matt Moore did give up a home run, but then he struck out the side, which was great. And then Aaron Luke came in, got a couple of strikeouts. Johnny, the Angels pitchers struck out Yankee hitters 44 times in this series.
It wasn't us.
It wasn't us this time. It was them. And Shohei Ohtani is the new Barry Bonds. They walked him 4 times in this game, and as they should. And this is why whoever bats behind Shohei Ohtani has to get it together. And Taylor Ward made them pay in this game with his home run, and then he hit that bloop double down the left field line. And so that's what they need from somebody batting behind Ohtani, no matter who it is. I do think it should be Moniak more than Ward, unless there's maybe a left-handed pitcher. But those guys need to step up, and they have in the last couple of games.
Yeah, I think that was the idea today, was just not going back-to-back with lefties in Ohtani and Moniak, because Ward separates that out, and it paid off. And even Rengifo, who typically has more power from the right side against lefties, thought was a good call, just because he was in there at third base today and Escobar was at first. It leaves Moustakas and Cabbage out of the lineup as lefties. And you look at it and you're kind of concerned, but at the same time, I think Rengifo showed why he benefits from hitting at the right side against lefties. So that was great to see. Hey, the Angels have a day off today, but tomorrow they're starting a series against the Pirates at the Big A. It's a throwback weekend. You can get a fanny pack on Friday night. I know. It's 6:38 Pacific time. Ohtani is back on the mound. Hopefully there's no finger issues. Hopefully there's no blister issues, and that he can take it to the slumping Pirates, and we can pick up even more wins this weekend. You can catch every pitch of the Angels hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Angels. And coming up on Locked On Angels, we've got Steve and Stacey from Locked On Yankees in the house. We're going to chat with them about the similarities and kind of commiserate of what we've been going through lately with Steve and Stacey. And that's coming up in just a few minutes. So we'll be back with that.
Locked On Angels is brought to you by eBay Motors. For a championship team, it's all about making sure that every player is a perfect fit. And it's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With the eBay Guarantee Fit, you can be sure that every part you get fits just right the first time around. Just add your ride to the My Garage and look for the green check mark to know that the part will fit or your money back. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. So get the right parts and the right fit at the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guarantee Fit is only available to U.S. customers.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. Locked On Everyday Airs. Join us Friday. Tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. Yes, it's Friday tomorrow. Let's go. Lindsey Crosby's going to be here talking prospect capital and what teams have the prospects to make a trade for Ohtani if that actually happens. And, of course, the Angels are back at it with Ohtani on the mound at 6:38 Pacific time on Friday. Catch every pitch of the Angels' hometown broadcast on SiriusXM with the SXM app. Just search Angels.
All right, Johnny, let's talk about Chase Silseth. First, let me give you a recap of his numbers from yesterday's game. 5 2/3, 2 runs, 4 hits, 10 Ks, which again was a season high, a career high for him. And the reason why Silseth was sent down and moved back into the rotation was because, according to Phil Nevin, he actually was never really comfortable in the bullpen role that they had him in. He was more comfortable as a starter.
You need to say sorry to Chase Silseth because he only surrendered 1 run, not 2 runs, Michael. 1 run.
Really?
I'm looking at it right here. 1 run for Chase Silseth.
Well, this is why I'm a podcaster and I'm not a stat taker. So, Chase, you did better than I thought. So that's fantastic. Also, Nevin said something interesting, Johnny, and he said that since being sent down, Silseth has worked on a different repertoire, his pitch selection. They've eliminated some pitches so that he can focus more on the pitches that he is really good at and not have to be thinking about too much, which I love. Nevin said they want to use his strengths as an asset rather than trying to trick guys. He's a power guy. Let's throw it hard with all your pitches. And that's what we want him to do. He's pitched a lot better when we've decided to do that. So, Johnny, why don't you talk a bit about what Silseth did in last night's game?
Yeah, so I know before the Wells and the butt people show up, I'm going to kick your butts and dry up your wells because I know it was the Yankees. I know they're slumping, but there's a reason why Chase Silseth came up and did what he did. He threw his slider way down from its normal velocity that it's been over the last year and even this past few games that he was in as a starter and a reliever. And here's the indicator for that. 80.6 miles per hour on the slider, while his year average on the slider was 84.3 miles per hour. Now, we've had this conversation a million times, Mike. It's the same thing that happened to Reed Detmers.
Yep.
He was throwing the slider too hard, so it wasn't breaking as much. It didn't have as much movement on it. It was a lot sharper, but that gets rid of the break on the pitch. And so Silseth went and did the same thing. He went down to AAA and they figured out the same thing for him. And that's why his slider was so much more effective. And you're right. They trimmed back the pitches that he was throwing and they really trimmed down the repertoire. So again, before you come at me with, well, it's the Yankees or, but they suck. I get it. I get it. I get all that. But Chase has made changes and this is why he was more effective. And honestly, he was efficient as well, which I am always a fan of.
Yes.
Listen to this, though. The movement on his slider was 8 inches more on the vertical side than it's been all year and 2 inches more on the lateral movement, horizontal movement than it's been on average over this year. So that actually made a big difference in this game. He had a called strike plus whiff percentage of 44.7%. That's the highest for any Angel pitcher with a minimum of 50 pitches other than Ohtani since pitch tracking began in 2015. And Ohtani's only done it twice. So for Silseth to get that yesterday, 44.7%, incredible called strike plus whiff rate. That means, guys, we're swinging and missing. And that's why he was able to rack up the 10 Ks there.
Yeah, and he threw his slider in this game 39 times, Johnny. And so that's really been the key for his success, which interestingly enough, it was also the key to Reed Detmer's success when Reed started to really improve and then slowing the slider down. These guys are young guys and they're probably getting really amped up. And that's why they're throwing their slider a whole lot harder, which you would think would maybe be a benefit because they are throwing hard to be a benefit for them. But honestly, it actually is a slower fastball with a different rotation if they throw it.
It's a cutter.
It's a cutter, right? And so it can become a meatball pitch. And think like Davinsky's changeup when he leaves it out over the plate. That's what was the struggle for Silseth. And so now he's starting to understand that the difference in velocity is a real benefit to him.
On that note, I mean, look, the slider was averaging 80.6 miles per hour. The sinker was averaging 93.9. So that's almost 14 miles per hour difference between that and the sinker. The fastball from Silseth averaged 95. So that's nearly 11 miles per hour difference. And then I think the most effective one, the splitter, his average on that was 86.3. So when you have two pitches like the slider at 84 and the splitter at 86, both with that downward movement, one, obviously the splitter much sharper and the slider kind of tailing toward or away from the hitter and down, those two pitches with their similar miles per hour, but totally different movements. That's what fools batters. And that's why he was so effective in that game last night. And it was really awesome to see that out of him coming up from AAA. And you were talking about it earlier, and Nevin was talking about it. He's a starter, Mike. Like he's just a starter. I get using him out of the bullpen because we totally needed somebody like him out of the pen. It's working out great for Sam Bachman. And he's always kind of been in that place between starter and reliever. But I honestly think Chase is built to be a starter. Does this good outing put him in the number 6 spot for you?
I think I would put him there. I just don't know if they're going to keep him on the roster because they probably want to continue to let him have starts. Mm-hmm. And so when I say on the roster, I mean like on the major league roster. I could see them maybe sending him back down to AAA so that he can continue to start and then maybe have that line up so that when they need a 6th starter again, they can just bring him back up. I don't think that Berea is going to be the guy simply because he's just been so inconsistent. Been really, really good, or he's been really, really bad. Although I will say this to his credit, the times that he's been bad is when he did come out of the bullpen, and the times that he has been good, not all the time, but the times that he has been better is when he was a starter.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they won't need another number 6 starter until the Toronto series. So they've got to go through the Pirates. They've got to go through the Tigers, and then they'll be back up in Toronto. Not back up. They actually need to go up there for the first time, I believe, this season.
Yeah.
Also, we might have a different rotation by that point if the Angels decide to make some moves there. So again, there's really up a lot in the air in this one. It feels good to sweep the Yankees and have Chase Silseth do so well. But again, one day at a time, we've got to take it one game at a time and really understand where we are after we get through these next couple of series for the Angels.
Locked On crossover today. Angels, Yankees. Hey, to Angels fans, hi. Remember me? Probably not. I think everybody's gone at this point that was watching the Steve era of Locked On Angels. And to those who do remember that and going, oh my gosh, he's crossed over to the dark side. Yeah, that's happened. Hey, boys,
Lord
how's
Vader.
It going? You guys took all 3.
That was so good, man. It was so much fun to watch. I know not for you guys, but for us, it was such a needed sweep for us, especially after that Houston Astros series. That Sunday game was so tough to lose. And so to get all 3 and put us right back in the race, it feels real good.
We are always the team that other teams get right against. And so we were very concerned about that in this series. Fortunately, we finally got one. Previously it was the Padres who got right against the Angels, and I think, gosh, even the Dodgers were struggling when we faced the Dodgers, and then they went and took all 4 against the Halos. So sorry it had to be at your guys' expense, but it does feel good to get right against a team.
Before the series started, Stacey and I do this segment called Bold Predictions on the show. So we would like to show you guys, and we've been keeping track. We've been doing this for about a month.
Okay.
We'd like to show you guys what Stacey and I's bold predictions were before the Angels-Yankees series. Do you have any bold predictions for this series against the Angels?
Severino will have the best start out of the 3.
Ooh. Wow. Okay. I'll take that. That's a good bold prediction. See, you're learning.
I'm learning.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna zone in on that Tuesday game. I'm gonna say the Yankees break out for double-digit runs.
All right, that's bold.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
So I just look.
They were bold, very bold. You're so bold.
That's the point. And you guys know Sandy had not been pitching well.
Yes,
right,
100%.
So
right.
I don't think that was too crazy.
If it was
going to
be any start, it was going to be that Sandy start.
Yes.
And so he surprised all of us with the way he came out on Tuesday. So that was huge.
Stacey, congratulations. You have now officially taken over the Locked On Yankees bold predictions lead, 3 points to 2.5. Your first lead.
My first lead. Yay.
Well done.
Take a bow.
Yeah, seriously. Guys, I also wanted to talk about just the similarities of these two teams.
Yes.
Right? Like you mentioned that the Angels have been the team that a lot of teams get right against.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees were hoping that the Angels would continue that trend.
Yes,
obviously.
I'm sure.
Yep.
But I mean, like records-wise, trajectory-wise, hatred by the fan base of their manager-wise, like these teams are like weirdly similar.
Yeah, I saw Fire Boone trending the other night when he didn't walk Ohtani, and I thought, hey, that's what Angel fans always say, fire Nevin. Yep. I was like, they have the same solutions as we do.
Yep. Yeah, and then when he defended it and said, that Moniak kid, he's really great, even Angel fans were like, yeah, but you still don't pitch to Ohtani. And so there's just really dumb decisions made by both managers. And we look at what happened. I mentioned Sunday against the Astros. We look at what happened with the Astros and how the Angels brought in Estevez in the 8th inning, which made sense because it was the heavy hitters in the Astros lineup. But to not have him come back out in the 9th inning was just ridiculous. He had only pitched 5 pitches the night before, and he was at like 15 pitches, I think, in that game. And quite honestly, we didn't expect him to be available on Monday anyway. And so why not throw him back out there? But he brings in Jaime Barria, who is a quasi starter reliever, not really sure who he is, 0 for 6 in save opportunities. And everybody was like, why is this happening? And so we could commiserate in really dumb decisions with our managers.
Yeah. Yeah. Stace, I know you have a lot to say when it comes to decision making, especially with the Yankees. It's like, we've said it a couple of times on the show. They have to be perfect to win. They can't get past those mistakes. They can't be like, okay, well, Boone made a bad move in the 6th, but we still got 3 innings. Like that just does not happen for the Yankees, right, Stace?
Nope. And, I mean, if I had it my way, he would have been fired after the ALCS, but it didn't happen. So we'll see.
It's bizarre. It's bizarre. Mm-hmm. Now here we are, right? After the series is over, the Yankees end up going 1-5 on a very crucial road trip outside of the All-Star break. They find themselves now 3 games over 500. The Angels entered the break 1 game under, easily could have won the series against Houston, as you guys alluded to, but ended up sweeping this series with 3 more at home. Long homestand. Mm-hmm. The Yankees, I feel, weirdly still have a chance because they're going home to face Kansas City. Mike, John, if I asked you right now, when it comes to let's say the day before August 1st, what's Perry Manassian doing?
I think Perry is going and getting a couple of bullpen arms, and I think he's going to try to get a starter. I think he's buying. I don't think Shohei gets traded. I think they're going to keep him, and I think that's been the plan this entire time. And I think that they are just going to go try to get some arms. At least that's what fans see. That's what I see, what John sees. This team really needs some help. They need those shutdown innings. We had a whole segment on Locked On Angels a couple of days ago where we talked about how there were 16 times since the beginning of the year, and it wasn't all of them. It was just 16 times late in the game where the Angels had the lead, and then they immediately gave it right back up again. And it was because some bonehead guy came in and threw a changeup in the middle of the plate and gave up a home run. And so this is what this team needs. So I'm going to say that they are, and this might be a bold prediction, but I'm going to say that they're going to go get a couple of arms. And I think one of the arms is going to be a starter, and I think they're going to get a couple of guys for the bullpen. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I think they have to. I mean, that's the part that's missing from this team is just that lockdown pitching. I mean, they're going to get Drury back. They're going to get Trout back. Maybe even O'Hoppe sometime in August. That's optimistic, but it seems like he's ahead of schedule. So I think offensively they're going to be fine. But pitching is really just the Achilles heel right now. And they've got the Pirates and they've got the Tigers, and then they got the Blue Jays who are in front of them in the wild card. So I think they have a chance to pick up some wins and even gain some ground in the wild card if they can do well against the Blue Jays. But Mike and I have been saying it all along. Game by game, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Take it one day at a time before that trade deadline.
What if I threw this question back at you guys? Is Aaron Judge like the big pickup? Because obviously him not being in that lineup changes everything. I remember when they played last year against the Angels, and it just felt like when we pitched to him, he was going to hit one out, and he did. And so is Aaron Judge the big pickup, or are the Yankees going to do something pretty big at the deadline as well?
Well, you don't want to play all our cards, guys. That's our episode next week. We're going to talk about it on Thursday.
Got it.
Stace, I mean, Judge swinging. He was running the bases yesterday at Angel Stadium in the heat. Like, I don't know. We've also said for a while that Aaron Judge, as mighty as he is, and as incredible as he was playing before he slammed into that wall at Chavez Ravine, might not be enough for this team because they just can't put it all together at once.
Right.
But when they did have Judge, there were spurts where they were really putting it together to the point where Stacey and I called it this might be the best team in the last decade.
Wow. Yeah. Bold prediction.
I don't know, Stacey. I don't want, again, don't show all our cards for next week's episode, but when it comes to the day before the deadline, what's Cashman and the boys doing?
Annoying me? Besides annoying me? Ugh, I have no idea. I really don't know what they're going to do, because I'm almost afraid that they're going to say, you know, getting Judge back is just like trading for a big bat in the lineup, because they always tend to do that.
Say that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like if when someone's injured and they're coming back like right after the trade, it's just like we're getting another arm. It's like, no, you're not. So I feel like that's going to happen. I just feel like I'm going to be annoyed at the trade deadline, no matter what happens.
Well, we're going live for it. We're going live for it. So make sure to hit subscribe here on Locked On Yankees. And
yeah, you'll get to see my angry face. It'll be fun.
Live.
Yeah,
live.
With us. Yeah, live. Mike Frisch, John Frisch. That's my brother Mike. That's my brother John.
Hey,
thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
This is fun.
Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. The Angels do play the Pirates on Friday at 6:38 Pacific time, and you can catch every pitch of the Angels' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search Angels.
Want to say thanks to Steve and Stacey for doing that crossover conversation with us. And, of course, give us a follow at Lockdown Angels on Twitter and at Super Halo Bros on Twitter and Instagram. Mike, what do we have on deck for tomorrow's show?
The one and only Lindsey Crosby is going to be joining us, and he's going to talk about if the Angels do trade Ohtani. He's going to let us know which teams actually have the prospects that the Angels would want for somebody like Shohei. But that's a big if, Johnny.
Right.
Big if, but we're going to talk about it because we got you covered here on Locked On Angels.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to see articles from all over the place of teams who could possibly do it, but I don't know that they consider the Angels side of things. So I think that's important for us to be part of that conversation. And I also actually really trust Lindsey with this kind of stuff. I know he doesn't have an agenda against us, so it's going to be a good conversation. All right, friends, thanks for being here. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here with us, and we'll see you back here on Friday.